Greetings, my dear learners. This is Module 1 for Unit 4 Concrete Technology course. In this unit, we will be seeing what are the various properties of concrete in its freshened state and hardened state, and also we will be seeing the test procedures given by Indian standards to determine the properties of concrete. This Module 1 entirely we look upon properties of fresh concrete. As we have seen earlier, the main criteria or main property pertaining to fresh concrete is workability. So in this module, we will be seeing first what is fresh concrete and what is workability and what are the various tests for measuring workability. In this module, we will be seeing 4 tests to measure workability of fresh concrete: slump cone test, compaction factor test, VP test, flow test, and at last we will be seeing segregation and bleeding while casting the concrete. So what is fresh concrete? It is the concrete phase from time of mixing to end of time concrete surface finished in its final location in the structure. Next we will see what is workability. Workability is the ability of a fresh concrete mix to fill the form or mold properly. The amount of useful internal work necessary to produce full compaction without occurrence of the known concrete problems. The useful internal work is the work or energy required to overcome the internal friction between the individual particles in the concrete. In practice, however, additional energy is required to overcome the surface friction between concrete and the framework or the reinforcement. And what we measure is workability, which is applicable to particular method adopted. Thus, in practice, it is very difficult to measure the workability as defined above, and what we measure is workability which is applicable to a particular method adopted. So, in ideal case, when you pass over the concrete over the mold, it should fill the mold without any additional external force. But normally, we use vibrators and some other techniques to make concrete fill the mold. So first we are going to see slump cone test. Slump test is the most commonly used method of measuring consistency of concrete, which can be employed either in laboratory or at site of work. It is not a suitable method for very wet or very dry concrete. Additional information on workability and quality of concrete can be obtained by observing the manner in which the concrete slumps. Quality of concrete can also be further assessed by giving a few tappings or blows by tamping rod to the base plate. The deformation shows the characteristics of concrete with respect to tendency for segregation. So this is the very common method to determine the workability of the concrete. So normally what we will be doing is there is a cone. The cone dimensions are given here. The bottom diameter is 200 meter and the top diameter is 100 mm and the height of the slump cone is 300 mm. In this cone, the freshly mixed concrete is placed in 4 layers. With each layer, 25 tappings are given using the tapping rod, and after that, once the first layer is filled, the second layer is filled, and once the second layer is filled, the 25 tappings by the tapping rod is given. Similarly, all the 4 layers are filled, and the top, if there is any concrete above the top of the cone, it is shoveled off using the trowel. Once the placing is done, as you can see in the fourth, the concrete at the top of the cone is taken off. Once the concrete is done, in the fifth step, the cone is lifted smoothly so that it does not disturb the concrete inside. So once you take out the cone, as you can see in the sixth, the concrete slumps. The concrete from its original position started to slumps. Based on how much height it has slumped, it is called slump value, and the nature which it slumps, the slump characteristics is classified into 3 types: true slump, shear slump, and collapse slump. Normally, true slump is required for all the constructional purposes. So, as you can see in the left figure, the actual concrete after the cone is taken, and in the second figure, the bottom line is when it is true slump, you will be having little bit reduced height, whereas in shear slump you will be having a 45-degree line, whereas in collapse slump the concrete does not stand, it ultimately collapses. So if the slump value is 25 to 75, it is called low. if 50 to 100 it is called medium, and 100 to 150 it is called high. If it is above 150 it is called very high. The second test is compacting factor test. It is more precise and sensitive than the slump test and is particularly useful for concrete mixes of very low workability, as are normally used when concrete is to be compacted by vibration. The compacting factor test has been developed at the Road Research Laboratory, UK. This test works on the principle of determining the degree of compaction achieved by a standard amount of work done by allowing the concrete to fall through a standard height. The degree of compaction, called the compacting factor, is measured by the density ratio, that is, ratio of the density actually achieved in the test to density of same concrete fully compacted. So the first figure is the apparatus used in compacting factor test. It has two hoopers A and B, and at the bottom you have a cylinder. So the freshly mixed concrete is placed in the top hoop and tapped. So once the clamp at the hooper A is released, it falls below to the conical hooper B. Similarly, when all the freshly mixed concrete in A hooper fall to the hooper B, the clamp in the hooper B is also released, which will lead to freshly concrete placing in the cylinder. So the cylinder, it is taken as it is, and if any particles outside the cylinder or in and around the cylinder, it is taken off. The weight of cylinder with the freshly mixed concrete filled into it is weighed. It is taken as weight of partially compacted concrete, and then the freshly mixed concrete is compacted fully inside the cylinder, and the weight is taken as weight of fully compacted concrete. The ratio of weight of partially compacted concrete to the weight of fully compacted concrete is the compacting factor. So these are the various dimensions of the compacting factor test apparatus. Upper hooper having top internal diameter 25.4, bottom 12.7, and the internal height is 27.9. Similarly, the lower hooper and the cylinder dimensions are given. The distance between bottom of upper hooper and top of lower hooper is 20.3 centimeter, and it is and the distance between lower hooper and the cylinder is also the same, 20.3 centimeter. So again, the procedure is sample of concrete to be tested is placed gently in the upper hooper and leveled. Trapdoor is then opened to allow the concrete to fall into the lower hooper. Concrete which has sticked in the upper hooper at the sides is gently pushed into lower one. The trapdoor of the lower hooper is opened so that the concrete falls on the cylinder. The excess of concrete remaining above the level of the top of the cylinder should be cut and removed. Weight of the concrete in the cylinder is then determined, which is known as the weight of partially compacted concrete. The entire concrete is filled in cylinder and tamped with a tamping rod, and the weight of concrete in the cylinder is then determined, which is known as weight of fully compacted concrete. So with these two weights of partially compacted concrete and weight of fully compacted concrete, the compacting factor value will be calculated. So if the compacting factor value is 0.85, it is low workability. If it is 0.92, medium workability, and if it is 0.95, it is high workability. Higher the compacting factor, higher the workability of concrete. So the next test we are going to see is flow test. This is a laboratory test which gives an indication of the quality of concrete with respect to consistency, cohesiveness, and the proneness to segregation. The tabletop is cleaned of all gritty material and is wetted. It has a vibrating table upon which the mold is kept at the center of the table, firmly held, and is filled in two layers. Each layer is rodded 25 times with a tamping rod 1.6 cm in diameter and 61 cm long, rounded at the lower tamping end. The mold is lifted vertically upward, and the concrete stands on its own without any support. So this is the vibrating table, and this is the dimensions of the mold. The mold is placed at the center of the flow table, and the concrete is placed. Once the concrete is placed, the mold is taken out, leaving concrete to stand on its own. So once the mold is taken out, the vibrating table, means the table, is lifted up and down 25 times and see how the concrete flows. So this is the first case, placing the concrete on the mold on the vibrating table. Second and third are lifting the mold. Third one, it is after lifting the vibrating table up and down 25 times, the concrete tends to flow, and you will measure the diameter of the widespread concrete. So the table is then raised and dropped 12.5 mm 15 times in about 15 seconds. The diameter of the spread concrete is measured in about 6 directions to the nearest of 5 mm, and the average spread is noted. So flow percent is spread diameter in centimeter minus 25 divided by 25 into 100. The diameter of the mold we are using is 25 mm. Finally, the spread diameter is calculated in 6 directions, so from which the flow percent can be calculated. The next one is VB test. This is a good laboratory test to measure indirectly the workability of concrete. This test consists of a vibrating table, a metal pot, a sheet metal cone, a standard iron rod. The time required for the shape of concrete to change from slump cone shape to cylindrical shape in seconds is known as VB degree. This is similar to flow test. Over the vibrating table, the cone is placed, the mold is placed, upon which the concrete is placed. Once the concrete is placed, it is removed. You will get some type of slump cone of concrete, and the time is noted, and the vibrating table is started. So once the vibrating table is started, the slump cone shape of concrete will change into the cylindrical shape, and the top layer will be horizontal. The time taken to change from slump cone to cylindrical horizontal shape is called VB degree. This method is very suitable for very dry concrete. Slump value cannot be measured by slump test, but the vibration is too vigorous for concrete with a slump greater than about 50 mm. So this is the VB test apparatus. The bottom figure is the vibrating table upon which the cylinder A is placed. The B is the mold, where D through the funnel which the freshly made concrete is placed. Once the concrete is placed, the cone B is removed, you will get a slump cone concrete as slump cone test. So once the mold is removed and the slump cone is formed, the vibrating table is switched on and the time is noted. From the concrete, from its slump cone shape, it will fill the cylinder A. So once it converts from a slump cone to cylindrical shape, the time required is noted and it is VB test. So if the time required is very less, there will be higher workability. So the next one is segregation. Segregation is a problem in freshly made concrete when placing in the form or mold. Segregation can be defined as the separation of the constituent materials of concrete. A good concrete is one in which all the ingredients are properly distributed to make a homogeneous mixture. There are considerable differences in the sizes and specific gravities of the constituent ingredients of concrete. Therefore, it is natural that the materials show a tendency to fall apart. So, segregation is on the whole, the coarse aggregate part of the concrete gets separated from fine aggregate and cement. So, badly proportioned mix where sufficient matrix is not there to bind and contain the aggregates. Insufficiently mixed concrete with excess water content. Dropping of concrete from height, as in the case of placing concrete in column concreting. When concrete is discharged from a badly designed mixture or from a mixture with worn out blades. Conveyance of concrete by conveyor belts, wheelbarrow, long distance haul by dumper, long lift by skip and hoist are the other situations promoting segregation of concrete. So these are the situations where segregation occurs. One has to avoid this situation. Precautions to be made to avoid segregation. The next topic is bleeding. Bleeding is sometimes referred as water gain. It is a particular form of segregation in which some of the water from the concrete comes out to the surface of the concrete, being of the lowest specific gravity among all the ingredients of concrete. Bleeding is predominantly observed in a highly wet mix, badly proportioned and insufficiently mixed concrete, in thin members like roof slab or road slabs, and when concrete is placed in sunny weather, show excessive bleeding. Bleeding can be reduced by proper proportioning and uniform and complete mixing. Use of finely divided pozzolanic materials reduces bleeding by creating a longer path for the water to traverse. Air entraining agent is very effective in reducing the bleeding. Bleeding can be reduced by the use of finer cement or cement with low alkali content. Rich mixes are less susceptible to bleeding than lean mixes. So you have to use cement more to avoid bleeding. Thank you.